Step into the shadows on Pop Talk Radio's horror broadcast, where screams linger and fears are vast. If you're brave, lend an ear to the chilling tales we steer. Join us, night spirits, for Halloween updates premiere.
Welcome on into, sadly, but soon to be the final Halloween Horror Nights 2024 show from Park Talk Radio. Bill here, leading the charge as we have our closing thoughts, some additional think tank session here with our special guest today, and some awards we like to hand out to some of our favorite pieces of the event. Don't worry, as soon as speculation starts up, and it already has, we'll be jumping in with more conversation, more discussion of what's to come for the 2025 season, HHN 34. Could be something a little different, maybe a bit more of a repeat this year as far as how things played out. But we want to make sure first you're following us on all social media platforms at Park Talk Radio, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the such. Social media content creator Brennan doing a fantastic job. And as we slide out of the Halloween season and slide into so gingerly to the Christmas and holidays, we got more content coming your way. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on all your podcast platforms. Share us, 5 stars goes a long way. Cost you nothing. Park Talk Radio on everything. We're based out of Spotify. And you can leave us a voicemail, 407-490-2220 for those voicemails and text messages. So we got a hefty show, large and in charge, and I got 2 wonderful guests to join us. First up, one of our most amazing and consistent guests, might as well be our co-host. We have Bren joining us once again. How you doing?
Hey there, I am sad that it is no longer spooky season, so I'm in mourning.
But it's nighttime, and we're recording on Thursday, November 14th. But it's not morning anymore. And
in mourning.
In mourning. Back again with his studious notes and lengthy thoughts on the landscape of Halloween Horror Nights. We got Fisher back again, Mr. Voicemail, King of the Talk, Pod Daddy, and our good buddy. How's it going, Fish?
We doing houses or are we sitting at Finnegan's? What are we doing? Let's go.
We're at...
Let's move.
Right now we're sitting on a curb trying to find our legs.
No bathroom breaks. Oh, everyone went to the bathroom.
We got one house done and it's 9:30 at night.
Can you create a new song for me right now? Just have your insert it right here.
Saw the haunted house, so tall, dark, and grim. With these fish inside, won't let you swim alone. 2 months before, break a leg or 2. Skip the lines and enjoy the view. Zombie clowns and goblins, they roll. Leave your worries back at home. Let's dive into this scary world. Best steps, tricks, he's better than you. Rest in layers, keep your spine warm and chill. Find the scare zones right up that hill. Eat your twisted taters one at a time. Haunted rush chills down your spine. Zombie clowns and goblins, they roll. Leave your worries back at home. Let's dive into this scary world. Best steps, tricks, he's better than you. Dressing layers, keep your spine warm and chill. Find the scare zones right up that hill. Eat your twisted taters one at a time. Haunted rush chills down your spine. Zombie clowns and goblins, they roll. Leave your worries back at home. Let's dive into this scary world. Best steps, tricks, he's better than you. Rest past keys and shortcuts in place. Face your fears at Fish's pace. Masked monsters, they're out to play. Universal's night, come what may. By the bonfire, tell your ghostly stories. Haunted tales and horrifying glories. Scared but laughing through the night. This tip gets you through the thrills of fright.
for Fisher tips for HHN. You ready?
Fisher
Here's your
tips for
first Fisher
HHN.
tip for HHN. If you have a large group, plan on at some point, if you really want to just go through houses, break off at some point. And don't even say goodbye. Just go. Do you. And let's say crowds more than like 7 people. 7, 8 people. If you really want to get through and do what you got to do, just break off. And don't apologize for it. There's your Fisher tip.
Or hang out with me. I got a group of 17 people on Halloween. Granted, some of them started to taper off by the end of the night, but we started with 17. We did 11 houses. By the end of the event, we had many breaks. We did everything. You can hang out with me, but we are moving.
Yeah. Got to go.
But I'm tired. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm blacked out. What do I do?
Unlike your co-host Dave, who hyped up, I am coming. I'm going to Hornet.
I'm coming.
It's only going to be one time this year, and we're getting through all the houses. And how did everything go for Dave?
Well, I was trying to get him on the show so he could at least physically and verbally defend his point. However, I'm sure he's still recuperating from his cruise, and we'll let him, when he comes back in episode 41, 42, whatever he comes back on, he'll talk plenty about that. He's freshly married. He's got a lot of consummating to do. He couldn't show up tonight.
He probably doesn't remember any of the houses anyway, so it's all good.
Oh, he did say you remembered them. He said they all were fine.
Quiet Place, my favorite house. See, there you go.
He didn't even do that house.
No,
he didn't do that house.
One. Long story short, Dave got blacked out by 9 p.m. and had to go home.
His legs stopped working.
Yeah. Long story short, he can defend himself later when he's on, but short and the long, he got blacked out by 9 p.m., which is exactly right now when we're recording.
But he was excited. He had left Destin at like 3 in the morning, drove all the way down it takes a long time to get from the Panhandle to Central Florida. And then he was just up the entire time after working a long week, and then he started just
drinking at like
blitz
2
drinking.
And just went too
What are you
hard,
supposed
too
to do?
fast,
It's horror nights.
No.
It's horror nights. It's Halloween. It's Halloween.
Not when you're trying to stay up till 2.
Yeah, and very few did. It was you, me, his sister, and his youngest daughter.
Yeah.
Yep. And
She was a champ. She was.
I
Awesome.
was tired. Well,
was
she's the
awesome.
realest. She's the realest one. She
She's
got
the
those
realest.
young bones, young legs.
Was she the one
Not
dressed up
drinking.
like Freddy Krueger?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you are awesome, by the way, and you got dropped in Insidious. I don't know if she listens to the show. She probably doesn't.
No.
But I played. What's the Hulk Hogan movie where he's the nanny, Mr. Nanny, or what? What is that one? I don't know if it is.
Is
but
Mr.
anyway,
Nanny not it?
I went through houses with like 3 of their kids, and they were all awesome. But they got dropped in Insidious. But I said, you're all gonna fall. They're gonna get you. And the 4 of them were all together, and they got knocked over. That's what Insidious does.
1993's Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny. What did I say? Did I say Mr. Nanny?
Hulk Hogan in a tutu.
Yeah,
Ugh. Trash.
Still love you, Dave, even though you used to ruin a previous podcast that I'm familiar with by your voicemails. But that's all good. Now I ruin your show.
One quick aside, and then we'll jump into our discussion. One of the dinners on the cruise was a bunch of the people that had joined were friends from Destin, and a friend we had met through Dave was asking about PTR. And I said, yeah, I do a podcast. He said, with Dave? He said, yes. With Davey? Yes. The guy that's here at dinner? Yes. And then another person's like, oh, is that the one where Dave was calling in and making those disgusting voicemails? I said, yeah, that's the one. Well, the one before this. That one's gone, but he's doing a new one. She's like, God, that guy, he's so fucking dumb. Can't believe he made his now wife queef into the phone. I said,
too far.
That's what it was.
What?
That's
No.
what it was.
What?
I'm not cutting it out. That's what happened. That's real.
No. No.
BYOCB. Bring it back.
No.
Collaboration crossover event of the day or the century.
We're cutting that out. That is
I'm not. I edit it. I cut it. Nothing. I ain't cutting shit. That's how it is. Alrighty. So Halloween Horror Nights 2024 HHN 33 has come to a close. It ended on November 3rd. Brennan and I's last day was on October 31st. Fish, you were there on.
I was there November 4th.
Oh, sorry, November 1st. November 1st. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fish, you were there.
We closed it. We closed it down. When I say we,
That's
my daughter
right.
and I, we closed it down. Closing time. They actually turned the lights on in the sound behind the sound stages. That's how late we were there.
Say get the fuck out after the time change.
We were in the Insidious line after 2 a.m. Eastern time. and they turned the lights on. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get into that. It was an amazing night. I think we got 18 house runs done that evening. So I'm telling you, I missed last night. I have not done that in so long. It's a different experience. Here's Fisher tip number 2. If you can go to Halloween Horror Nights, even if it's your only time that you go the last night. It's just different. It's special. Go. November, whenever their last
whenever the last
night is
evening
be.
is.
Typically now dips into November. So,
well, with Halloween next year being on a Friday, it'll probably end on November 2nd, the Sunday.
And I will be there.
Yep.
We'll be there this time.
Me too, yeah.
We'll close
unless Epic Universe has something real good going on out there. Probably
I'll
not.
still be at Horror Nights.
Yeah, that's right. So, starting off our conversation on a Horror Nights 2024-33 in review. As a general observation as a whole, the whole year for me, and this might be a shared thought line, that it just felt off. And there are a couple things that I'm thinking already on why it felt off. It maybe because it started in August. It's already so goddamn hot. And now we have August. Not to discredit Disney down the street. They start their not-so-scary Halloween party the second Tuesday in August. However, Horror Nights has always been like kind of this September hard-scheduled piece. And maybe the scare actors burnt out. Though I think a lot of it for me was how safe or not pushing the innovation on the particular houses for me. It felt a lot of the samey. We're on a budget year, perhaps, because Epic Universe is opening up next year. The IPs weren't hitting as hard. We leaned too much on animatronics or too much of a setup scare to make it happen. There's a couple houses that have these in place, and if they don't hit when you're going through, it's not very successful, in my opinion. And then we just consistently, again, have scare zones that just are not what they used to be, at least for Fish and I. And I don't know what the solution is, since we had a couple years without the day parade, and that was always the restrictor. We can't have these big sprawling scare zone sets due to the day parade needing clearance through the streets. We didn't have that for a little bit. We have it back again now, and we still are in that same predicament. So, overall, it felt off. Maybe it was too long for me. I think the lineup wasn't the strongest it could have been. That was consistent. There was nothing extreme. There wasn't a batch of extremely terrible. And then, if you can relate to this or not, listener, I think the last real super pristine, consistent year was back in 2011. There wasn't a single stinker on the lineup. But that's jaded nostalgia. Turn it over to the group. What if you have a reason? Do you think this year felt off for any particular action, house, scare zone, etc.? Oh, and we're still doing Nightmare Fuel. I'll leave it there.
Well, I think right off the bat, even before the event started, I think a lot of people were disappointed by the quote-unquote icons that they had this year. So it
The
kind
mascots.
of started it. Yeah, the mascots.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it kind of started it maybe in a slightly negative fashion.
Well, we had this really, really decent build-up with there's some, all the evil and the horror's been seeping into the ground. The ground's rotten. Not that we didn't do that back in 2013, but the ground's rotten. Something's being unleashed. And then the mascots, Sinister and Surreal, were revealed so late into the marketing spree.
That, and it kind of had nothing to do with all the teasers, like you were saying.
No.
Like, something's being unleashed. Like, I
The
was thinking
Arch.
Fear was coming back or something.
No. Not till...
He won't come back till, a anniversary year or something. But I was thinking something maybe similar to that. Or Otis, the Arch, whatever.
Otis.
Which they only referenced in one place for what, a cocktail?
The Eye of Otis cocktail on the Amity Bridge. And Otis was only ever named officially one time on the Horror Nights Twitter account, which you may or may not know is usually run by an intern, so they could have just had that off the cuff and the fan base ran with it.
I
Just
think
Little
the
Boo.
announcements and stuff were just not as hype as before, so maybe it started it in a weird tone. I don't know.
We were missing that Chucky house, you right. Let him say fuck.
Fish, what do you think?
Yeah, Oh gosh, I did a comparison because I asked you guys the last time I was on the podcast, and I said I feel like maybe this year is better than last year, and then I ran some data, did some comparisons, but this and y'all are gonna think I'm crazy when I say this, but this was my favorite year, not because of content standpoint, but because this is the most times that I've been with my daughter, and she just loves the event, and she's brought my love back for the event. So if she listens to the show, if you listen to the show, I love you. You seriously brought my love back for this event, and I love that we can share it. So the experience of it, that doesn't change for all of us who are really into this event, right? You still go out, you have fun with your friends, the interactions with scare actors and all that. You still have your things that you really enjoy. The scare zones, in my opinion, were better this year than last year. And Bill, you know that historically our experience in the streets are different now. I totally get that experience, but you go back last year, I remember Zodiac, I remember Vamp, and I remember Oddfellow.
Yep.
And San Francisco had something. I don't remember what it was called. And then there was some jungle thing in Central Park. Okay, well, this year was better.
Immortality.
This year was better. I'm sorry, the streets were better this year. That's my opinion. It's a right opinion. They were better. But the houses, so when I started to do a comparison, rank them, give them a score out of 10, okay, and then add them all up. There's 10 houses, so you could get a total of 100. Last year's culmination of houses, when you look at Exorcist, Oddfellow, Yeti, Blood Moon, they're just solid. They're solid across the board. And that's not even saying Darkest Deal, which in my opinion was the best, right? So yeah, you had Insidious this year, but the second tier, third tier houses this year were just not the quality of what we saw from last year's event. You all nailed it though. When we say what was off, the Otis and the marketing and the matching of the icons, that just kind of threw everything off. It didn't seem to gel. And if you look at why did we have Sinister and Surreal? When you come into Universal Studio, this is creative, no knock to them, but this is what they were telling people, and the media who comes and films it and puts this information out there for all the masses who are coming to enjoy it. Choose your path. Okay? You come into the event, choose your path. There is no path. You have Minion World. So if you're starting in Duality of Fear and you're picking Sinister or Surreal, sure, you go to the right and you're going to pass Today Cafe, and then you have kind of nothing for a while, and then you're in Demon Queen. So you technically chose Surreal to the right, but it just didn't work. You can't choose a path. It's not choose your own adventure and then you go right or left. Choose your path. You're going through nothing. And then you're going past Quiet Place, and you're hitting all the food booths. And then, oh wait, there's Torture Fair there around the corner when you pass the crate. That's the tribute store. So that's it. That just didn't. I don't know if that's what people are saying when they say it's off, but the icon matching and the Otis, and then we don't. What happened to Otis? And they were unleashing all this.
It was just very inconsistent. Yeah,
it seemed just And I think I don't know if you have to be a hardcore HHN follower to pick up on that, and that's maybe. Through podcast spaces and through social media, and those who are really ingrained in the event, we're plugged into this world. To the general public, they probably don't care.
They have no
idea. I feel like you should not have to listen to hours of content on podcasts to understand a house or a scare zone.
I don't think that's completely true. I mean, the houses, they made sense. It's the backstory. The backstory should not be locked behind those hours of podcasts. It should be pretty clear here. And especially when you have houses such as Bloodlines, where they're having all this voiceover and narrative spoken to you, and it's several paragraphs long, and you get 2 seconds, you don't even hear it. So if it's your one night, you have no idea what the hell's going on. And the podcast does help that. You shouldn't have to have multiple avenues to be injected or resort to taking the RIP tour, where your tour guide then recites it from their laminate.
Do you know, I did not look for myself, do you know if that background lore-ish stuff was on the app? That maybe while you're in line you could read it? Because I know before they've had that, and that was helpful.
So they had trivia, the horror trivia, once again. However, it was not in the app this year. It was on a separate website. I didn't even try to do it once because
I didn't do it either.
I didn't feel like doing it. But the only thing you got in the app was exactly what you see on the website is the single paragraph or single sentence blurb of what this house is.
That's a good
I think
point.
they should have maybe summarized what was in the podcast and put it on the app, like a little background, so that
Well,
while
yeah,
you're
also-
in line, you can kind of just skim through and be like, okay, I get it now. Just as something,
Also, to keep in mind, those podcast backstories didn't always line up with what happened in the houses. It just
That's
gave a brief associative
Yeah, I think
piece,
I listened to
especially the monstrous
Montrose
one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that one was just kind of like a spooky
Here-
story involving
Yeah,
the demon.
not very good.
No, it was not.
Yeah, you all make a good point. Good points, because working the event in the past, the website was far more interactive in the past. There were interactive more things when they launched the app that you could do, that would just add to the entertainment of it. So yeah, that's a really good point. That whole aspect of it has kind of been lost in the event. And I'm not really sure why that is. I would love an interactive website, just not a generic Halloween Horror Nights and really what's front and center there, or how to buy tickets. I would love some type of interactive, even put that in the application in the app, and just separate something. That would be really cool to see. It's weird that they did that in the past and they just don't do that anymore.
The answer is money.
Doesn't still have phones, they still have them.
The answer would be money, and then making those web-based applications also function on the mobile device, which takes double development time. And it was all in-house, making those interactive games or the websites, which during Dave and I's Icon recap, we went on length talking about the 2008 website and how incredible it was. Now it's, here's a press release, here's the house, and then it's on the website. There's nothing else to be done. And they have done augmented reality games before, where you would purchase maybe a light up skull pendant and it would light up as you move around, and that could facilitate the cost invoked when creating these interactive websites. Or why not just keep the ability to nickel and dime, and here, unlock the special portion of the app, you can now play the ARG in the park. There's options to do it, but I think it comes down to mostly time and money, and the return is probably not worth the investment for them.
They did bring back, when you're waiting in line, something like, what can you do that's interactive when you're waiting in line? Everyone gets that guess the name thing. You put it up on their forehead.
Heads up.
That. So, but they did bring back, there were Q videos. Now, some of them were just advertisements or, essentially Blumhouse. Here are all the Blumhouse movies.
Yep.
But do you recall in the past where they would have almost the teaser videos going in to leave it to Cleaver or other ones?
A lot of those houses used to have full-fledged Q video about the house that would explain the story.
There you go. So we had that for Slaughter Cinema 2. And then it would be nice, that I think would be very well received, and then you don't have to do all these podcast introductions or try to figure out the story of the house. I think some of the challenges with that is you're entering in a lot of the cues are all in the same area, right? So you've got Insidious and Triplets this year. You've got Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines, and Goblins, right? So what we saw were just videos of essentially advertisements.
Yeah, and the Ghostbusters, Insidious, or Quiet Place commercial that was released in general to advertise the IP.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure what was off on the event. I know this is critique about it, but I think it really comes back to that icon and the marketing, and it just seemed a little bit disconnected. Merch was clearly not selling as much this year, right? With the 70% off sales.
70 on the very end, and just another disconnect on what the event theming was, and then you have 90s punk rock as your merchandise piece.
Which is cool, but last year when you put Vecna on a t-shirt, I mean, Stranger Things is crazy, right? I mean, that's a hardcore base. That's a very popular show. Throw Vecna on a t-shirt, people are going to buy it. You have The Last of Us on a t-shirt, people are going to buy it. This year, what was it? Ghostbusters, right?
Ghostbusters, Lipstick, Quiet Place. Which was kind of neat. They did stylize the Death Angel neat. And then you have Lipstick Man.
Punk Rock Dude, and Lil Boo. I mean, everywhere.
Lil Boo again.
Even a disconnect this year, even on what people wanted to buy from a merch perspective.
Well,
I think the merch that did the best were the little shoulder plushies. Those things flew.
Little Boo and
the
Stay Puft Marshmallow.
And then the Stay Puft the little shoulder plushies. I feel like those were the best selling items.
I mean, they did
stick. How does that work?
It's a magnet.
Oh, it's a magnet. Okay.
Yep. Put a magnet under your shirt, and then you plop them up there. I believe the only other thing that really sold out was the denim vest with a hood.
Oh, the one you got. Yeah.
We tried to get one. But
I think those are out. So it seems like there's a combination of factors that led to maybe an off feeling, the lead up, the marketing, what felt like was a shoo-in of these mascots, Sinister and Surreal, after the fact, because they announced Torture Fair and then and had the whole blurb and everything up there, the art, and then afterwards said, "Oh, this is Sinister Scares," and they changed what the website said. I don't know why you wouldn't hold it until you announce the mascots to have it just simplified. So to me, it really leads some credibility that the mascots were afterthought, and I really did not care for them. I thought they couldn't decide, them being Universal Creative, if it's going to need to be campy, super serious, like actual Sinister, or because the way they had the actors performing, and it's nothing against them, this is the direction they were given, it sounded just so campy and fake, and just the canned laughter, ha 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 ha, it was not landing.
The only pro to those two, I would say, their costume design I thought was awesome. I thought they looked very cool.
Agreed. And I liked both characters. Maybe on the streets it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Icons, typically, you give them... Oddfellow last year.
Give them a stage.
One house. Right?
Give
There's
them a
a
house.
story.
Yep.
Give Surreal a house. It's a mind F, right? Give Sinister, it's all torture, torture related. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe you pull from the integrity of the icons when you do not give them a featured house. So.
You know what they could have done? Like how they could have done like a dual house with the two of them. If they, which I love how they changed where Freaky and Black Phone were last year. They could have done one segment of it, one of them, then where it breaks, then the other segment, the other one. If they kept that same.
You mean Choose Your Path? You mean Choose Your Path, Brennan?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, whoa! What a concept!
What a concept, right?
No, bring back the old houses
that,
where you could run them forwards and backwards, and you would switch where the queue lines up on different nights. Or you have two houses that run concurrently, where there's two full separate houses. They're near each other, but they actually are a full storyline. SS Frightanic and another one did that back in the day. They've done this before. It's not new novel concept. It's been happening, and even last
Chamber
year,
of Horrors, Museum of Horror was two sides. Yeah,
and even with last year, you had that last two scenes of dragons where choose your Fae, nothing spectacular, but they've shown even recently it's been done.
Y'all are hired. We still love you, HHN Creative, but the Choose Your Path thing
I highly look forward to HHN 35 and especially 40. We have 34 in between some of that, though.
Hey, Catacombs 2.0, bring it back. Let's go. Cats and Combs, comb it one more time.
Bring you out of retirement.
Me, baby, one more time.
Would you go audition if they if you knew internally that there's going to be a Catacombs 2? Would you go audition, try to get it?
I said the only oh gosh, my life just doesn't allow that anymore. But I would try to make it work.
I mean, no barriers.
I said I'd come back to HHN if one of my daughters was a scare actor, and we would be the father daughter. I think that's kind of cool. But it's different. Cool. It's different now. There's too many nights. At 2 a.m. Can't do it.
Yeah, got that right. Absolutely. So as far as any improvements we can offer, besides what we've already talked about, anything additional, maybe consistent hype, consistent theming, better merch.
I'm not a food critic. I don't go there for the food, but I liked the Slimer dog.
I did not know that
Slimer's Korean Town dog.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought overall the food offerings were pretty good. I understand, they don't offer much if folks like different beers and things. They typically don't deal with many vendors that bring out different craft beer offerings. So I can understand that. Like I said, the scare zones.
I know one brewery that was trying to get in.
Yeah. Scare zones were better. They were. Dead Coconut was awesome.
I loved Dead Coconut this year. Loved it.
We got mocktails, and I left my credit card there. Credit card there. I had to go back and get it.
You're so wasted off those mocktails.
Fucked up on sugar, dog.
That was a really good mocktail, though. Some like jalapeno and sea salt. It was so good. And then I walked back and I said, yeah, I left my card. And there was about 20 other ones there. I said, oh, people do this often. Oh, yeah. And as I was getting mine, someone else walked up and like, I left my card here.
Yeah, I think food and drink wise this year was good. I thought the walking taco was great.
Yeah, comparable to last year. I don't think there's any super standouts.
I think it was good. Yeah. I didn't try everything, but
the burger at the Mel's Die-In stand last year was better than this year. It was bigger.
Blood burger.
The Blooder burger.
Here's what was better. I don't know why this didn't jump out to me. The new sprung tents or the new tents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
So much better.
I hated going past ET last year to go to Monsters. That long queue. You're just in the single line. It seemed like we walked 3.5 miles just to get to 2 houses last year. Those being contained, having the restroom out there, and seeing the wait times, that huge improvement. Keep it. Let's let the tents be the tents, and that to me is such a huge improvement.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Good job.
Huge plus. You had that nice air conditioned portable like restroom unit.
Yeah, and then there were bars out there. They had
plenty of pop up bars or bar carts.
They didn't have a food cart, but they had bar carts.
Yeah, no shortage of that.
Churros and pretzels.
Yeah, like they could have added that, but I mean, otherwise. A+.
They can bring down the drink prices.
Well, always.
Well, do me a favor and sell less. Just sell less tickets overall. Make the line shorter.
Well,
though I believe
we had the impact with the hurricanes too.
Right. So I believe though, as overall, house times on average were lower this year than last year.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I can go pull up the data to support it, but I believe that's what I read last time I checked it.
I feel like there were fewer nights this year that we walked around and said, like, screw it, we're going home. Like, just because things were too long last year. I feel like we did that more often than this year.
Yeah, there's no Stranger Things pull or Last of Us pull. Overall, the IPs. I don't think the IPs.
Those will be back next year. More than likely.
35, probably.
35? Stranger Things not coming out next year? Last of Us comes out next year, I believe.
Yeah, but they're gonna. I would think they would wait, right? Because the season's going to be during the event. I don't know.
Last of Us will be
Hold on, she's going to be mad at me that I don't know when.
Last of Us will be like January, I believe. This coming.
Well,
I say bring it back for 35.
But yeah, I don't think Stranger Things would be next year. I think it would come out too close to the event, if not during the event.
Exactly.
And they're not going to do an Exorcist where like the house is before the movie.
Okay, so Last of Us 2 will be in spring of next year.
So they could do that.
Oh, he's looking it up. Here we go. Hold on. While you're looking that up, Fisher tip number 3, insert theme song here. Hold on. Insert theme song here.
Yeah.
Break your leg 2 months before the event so you can have a way to get through the lines a little bit better. Shatter your leg 2 months before the event.
Shatter leg. I'm writing this down.
Number 3. Bring a cane. It helps.
You look cool.
I only use that thing twice.
Or you can have a full mental breakdown to help you get to the line quick too.
I kind of did.
Looks like November 6th, Netflix confirms Stranger Things will premiere in 2025. Does not
November
give a time
6th
of this year. No. They gave a report on November 6th this month that will come out next year. They didn't say what.
They have not announced a date.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I'll call the expert, but she's asleep right now.
I'm sure she knows.
She knows.
Oh, she got the deets. All right, well, we'll send this off to UDX, Universal Creative, and they'll take the feedback as we see fit. Moving on, final closing rankings of scare zones and houses. And if you want to see Nightmare Fuel for its 5th iteration next year, I'll go last. Brennan, why don't you start us off?
Oh, okay.
Scare zones, then houses, and then yay, nay, more.
We'll do 5-5-5. Do 5-5-5.
5-5-5.
4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I mean, like.
Oh, yeah.
Not telling you how to do your own show.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No.
So top 5 houses instead of all 10?
No. Like,
Scare zone 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No, you do 5. You do 5. You do 5.
Oh, so we take turns doing scare zones. Okay.
Yeah. Take turns, Bill.
Ugh.
And then we can all talk about it at the same. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. No, you're right. No,
It's
go
your
on.
show.
No. No,
That
go
makes
on.
sense to me.
Hold on. No, it's okay. Yep. We'll
Okay,
do
well
that
then
one.
I will start with scare zones then. So going worst to favorite, or least favorite to favorite order. Correct?
I was muted because I don't want to run the show.
I'm reading off the same producer notes that you are. I want to make sure I'm
okay.
following it.
Okay, I got you.
I don't think I'm understanding what you're saying.
Bren, what's your fifth favorite? What's the one number 5 in your scare zone of the year?
The least favorite scare zone is Duality of Fear because it's not a scare zone. Then number 4.
No, see, that's what we go.
Oh,
back.
then I do 5.
Oh,
See,
okay.
that's
Now,
what we're producing.
now I get it.
Now
My fifth most favorite scare zone out of the 5 is Duality of Fear because there is not anything to it except excessive chainsaw fumes.
Put us together. We are triplets of terror because the 5th on my list is Duality of Fear.
I feel like that's
Did
across
you all
the
know?
board. Like
Did
for
you
everyone.
all? Yeah, I think you're right. Did you know that in the last night they added scare actors from Torture Fair and from Demon Queens into Duality of Fear?
Wow, that made a whole lot of
That would
fucking
make
sense
way
for the
more
full
sense.
run.
Why did you not do that earlier?
Oh my god.
Why did you wait till the end? What the when I forgot my card and I had to go back to Dead Coconut Club. I walked through. I'm like, I know you from Demon Queens. Why is a Torture Fair person out here? It
That
made
makes
sense.
way more sense.
It
oh my
made
gosh.
sense.
Who would have
Choose
thought?
Choose thy path or whatever. Like, ugh.
Well, that still doesn't make sense, but
No, but it makes it a little more sense with them added.
well, the Universal-owned Illumination studio said no scare actors in our full Illumination land now.
Yeah, we got to figure that out, team.
It's awful.
What are we going to do?
Just put up some black tarp during the night.
Can we put something? Can you do something in front of Fallon?
No, because all the houses enter there and dump from there.
Yeah,
Can we do
that's
Shrek
true.
Alley again, which is not Shrek Alley anymore? We've got to
could.
do something.
I know,
because that
it's
just
horrible.
It just doesn't work. I don't know.
It's like you walk in and you're like, yeah, I'm here, and then it's like, okay, there's nothing.
It feels like a tenth of the park right there. Is just
Yeah.
here's your
'Cause
minions
as
with a low
soon as
light.
you walk in, basically everywhere you look is nothing.
Low light, lo-fi minion land.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's not good.
All right.
All right.
Fourth
number 4.
favorite.
Yes, that's going to be Blumhouse for me.
You didn't like Megan?
It's all photo ops. And then it's so congested in there. because
Oh, the
everyone's
Purge guys.
stopping. I mean, some of them were cool, but I mean, just overall.
Vince
not
Vaughn's
my
running around in
favorite.
there.
He was running around.
Yeah, I mean, tiny Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn's huge. Number 4 for me is also Enter the Blumhouse. I did kind of like last year's Scare Zone, which was Shipyard 32. Horrors Unhinged, because it was just an amalgamation of old costumes and stuff they found. Like, oh, crap, we don't know what to do. It's no Dead Man's Wharf, but Enter the Blumhouse was pretty poo-poo. Blumhouse, dude. I don't need photo ops. I don't need people congesting it for said photo op. Could have been another original Scare Zone with, maybe something more, another sinister or another surreal
Because
spot.
Blumhouse already had something in Dead Coconut Club. The whole second floor was Blumhouse. So it's like you already have your stuff out there. I mean,
We gotta show off what we own.
just not enough.
Number 4 for you, Fish.
Triplets of Terror again. Here we go. 3 for 3, baby. Blumhouse. Enter the Blumhouse.
Enter the
I
Blumhouse.
wonder if there was supposed to be some bigger type of thing with Blumhouse because that Wolfman was out there briefly, right?
For like
so
10 seconds.
Kind of like right outside the Scare Zone.
yeah, so it wasn't as bad as what I expected. And when I say that is, I don't think it created the giant cluster outside of where the Grabber and
The Megan corner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My question would be, why
Split them
not
up.
drop Megan where Vince Vaughn was?
Yeah.
And the construction worker that everyone's like, what is that construction worker? Where is he from? What
Yeah.
is that
They
character?
should have put them on opposite sides.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
to
dude
split
slayed.
Split it up.
Yeah, you're the scare actor who was that construction worker. You were freaking awesome.
Making
Oh, yeah, that person
crazy,
was always
crazy
great.
lips.
Dude,
Yeah,
you're crazy.
they were always spot on.
They're awesome. But most of the people didn't know what that character was from.
Yeah.
So,
But okay, so for the people, the scare actors in the Blumhouse zone, this one being in 4th place has nothing to do with you. It's just the zone in general. Like, I think the scare
because
actors,
the scare actors,
They're
You're
working
right.
with what they have. We are
Like-
certainly not talking about any scare actor in any of our commentary here. Maybe
Just one.
some superlatives.
just one maybe, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right, because the scare actors killed it in the zone. My
did
fear
great.
going,
Yeah.
my fear going into it was, oh my gosh, everyone's going to want to be here and take pictures, and that's where Major Sweets dumps out, and that's where you're coming from the other side, and you're dumping out of Nightmare Fuel, and you're going through Potter World. It's going to be insane. That wasn't too horrible, but the scare actors did that's what I said, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember last year because we just walked through it. Here we stopped. I took pictures. He shot some video. I was one of those people who took pictures in scare zones this year when I don't like doing that. No selfies. But wasn't as bad as what I had expected.
I guess that's fair. I think you're discrediting old Batilda from last year, though.
Oh, that's true. I remember.
I mean, I certainly don't care.
But
She ended up in the
Trisha.
tribute store.
No, Batilda is her name,
Universal
and
named her.
Batilda's been around since the '90s. Not a new thing.
But then
know why we're-
fandom randomly
why.
exploded last year with her.
Yeah,
Which I don't
very
know.
interesting. All right, number 3, Brendan.
That's going to be Swamp Ass of the Undead.
Swamp Ass of the Undead.
That's my 3rd. I would say 90% of those scare actors in there were fantastic. They did great, but then there's 10% who just kind of walked around going like, "Meh."
Well, you want to keep talking about a cluster congestion area. That one on a
That
busy
one, yeah.
night, usually
That one
and
does
it's
get very cramped.
it was consistently drenched this year because they had
Yeah.
the misters on the entire time for 10 hours.
Which was great. It made it feel like a swamp.
Oh,
That was the point.
Poor actors.
Oh my gosh, yeah, poor actors. It's miserable for them. But I liked it. I think, I don't know why it took them up until like the second to last week or whatever of the event to add things up in the trees. But I don't know why that happened. Maybe the hurricanes. I don't know. But because there's always stuff up, like lights or something up in the trees in there. It's like, use
Sure.
your environment. And then there was nothing this year, and that was disappointing. And then the second or third to last week, it was like, nope, there's stuff now.
finally arrived from Temu.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
China.
Number 3, gonna be. I mean, this is tough because I don't feel anything super outstanding here. They're all pretty close in ranking except Duality. Number 3 for me is gonna go to Demon Queens. Maybe I didn't spend enough time in there.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Boo.
Well,
We're no longer triplets of terror.
Well, it was going to be broken up because I found there was a lot of issue with this zone because there's a lot of meandering by the performers and a lot of standing around by the actually cool looking costumed ones on the stage. And then we got Surreal up there yakking away. And while I love the set design on the movable floats where like the swirl and the people's bodies, what was it? Black robes, people stopping for selfies, actors breaking character probably second most out of the event. And I mean, I will chalk this up to me not spending enough time and just observing, but I didn't feel the draw to do so. So Demon Queens again, number 3 here for me.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to critique your critique. But number 3, because Brandon and I are right, it was Swamp and the Undead. And the reason is, okay, here's my question to you all. How do we move out of the Central Park area? It just doesn't work because you can't pause and you can't enjoy a zone anymore. You just have to walk through it.
Yeah, I feel like I can't. In every other zone, I can stand with a drink and just
There's a
observe and hang
sidewalk.
out.
There's a sidewalk. You can't have a scare zone. You have to have an area outside now. It's completely unfair to the zone to not allow people to be in there and enjoy the environment. It doesn't work in that area anymore. We've got to hang
just too
pumpkins
crowded.
back up. light the path. Where can we put a different scare zone? What's going on with the Springfield area? Is that what it's called? The Simpsons? I don't know. Springfield. Okay.
Springfield, yeah.
Remember when we used to have over by before ET, that was called Kid Zone, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we used to have Scare Zone over there?
A long time ago, we had scare zones there, and
Okay.
then we had too many houses building up, and we couldn't get people through to the houses.
Let's go even further back. Remember midway of the bazaar? What's right in Springfield land? There's a freaking carnival games and stuff there.
That area's been warded off by the mouse for years
there you go.
now.
So all these problems, right, that you can't put scare zones in specific areas. We talked about it with Minion World, Minion Land, whatever the frick we call that path.
Yeah.
It's so limited right now. So it might be time to eliminate a zone and add more, because that area just doesn't work anymore.
Can you put one kind of like in front of Transformers and that like, dark alley?
Yeah, there you go. So
like
dump the HHN bar.
Yeah,
let's go in that area.
In front of there.
In front of Mel's. Let's put the area that what I said before was Shrek Alley. I don't know what you call that now.
Sting Alley.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry. Shrek Alley is different. Sting Alley is where the Quiet Place food was.
Yeah.
And we had I believe our last scare zone we had over there, which we did have one there. Right where you're talking about was
the
Killer
Icons here.
Killer Clown scare zone.
Yes. Oh. Yeah, that was there.
Yes.
Yeah, but no offense to Swamp of the Undead, because they had the scenes they built around there, all the atmosphere was great.
Awesome. Yeah.
They carry around dead possums, and it was really good, but you just walk through it, so you don't get to absorb it and enjoy it
like you can the other ones.
Yeah, so your ranking is unfair, Swamp. I'm sorry. It's you dealt with what you had to deal with. We got to move out of that area. Just hang pumpkins in the trees, have it lit, and carry you into the next area. Right, get you excited for the next house.
Very themed area, like you're saying, like pumpkins, maybe like cute things or spooky things along the sides, but then that's it.
And just put freaking vendors there or something. Sell some food there and set up a zone somewhere else. It just doesn't work.
Just something.
Yeah,
you have a merch booth there that's closed at night, and then you have the La Bamba right there on the corner where you can sit and watch the entrance of the zone.
It was too damn too. I felt like I was going to fall every time.
Well, yeah.
I feel for you, Scare Actors.
We also had. I mean, you used to have clown saws walking through Springfield until they got kaput. And then we also had, I don't remember how many, but we had at least one scare zone in the courtyard in front of Animal Actors. It was the Canyon. I don't remember the full name, something Canyon. But it was all 6 foot plus tall actors on stilts, and they just had super tall dudes walking around like you're in a canyon.
Oh, that's scary.
So we had that scare zone, and that's the last one I can remember. That was in the Kids Zone courtyard, or the Animal Actors courtyard, rather.
Add one back to where, like you're saying, the Killer Clowns one is, and then in front of Transformers, kind of like get rid of HHN bar if you think that'll clump it up. But
yeah, that area used to work. It just doesn't work anymore. Harvest of the Souls or whatever was back there. It was well lit. It worked, but it doesn't work anymore.
Killer Clowns
don't get rid of HHN bar. Only serve from the side towards the lake. So then,
I don't think the bar's an issue.
I'm saying, like, if it were to clump up stuff, like if they think it would.
No, I think your clumping is going to happen over by Transformers and Sting Alley, because they have a very good food offering there now. Mm-hmm. And we used to have Scare Zone in the little plaza town square area in front of Horror Makeup, La Bamba, and Mel's. That used to be a pretty consistent scare zone. I mean, we had Megan Dance last year.
Yeah.
In 2010, we had Horror... Welcome to Horror Unleashed. Fear Revealed. Sorry. Fear Revealed was there. So it's another spot that they can do something. And the other thing you gotta keep in mind, I mean, when we had the Killer Clown Scare Zone, their green room break space was the... one of the Shrek theater, or the Shrek green room, which doesn't exist anymore. That's where they would go for their breaks to clock. That was
my break. Yep. That was my break area.
So that's not there anymore. You got the Sting Alley food, which has been successful every year so far. And then you just gotta figure out where the people are gonna break. You can bring back where Fear Revealed was in front of Horror Makeup, but I believe that is probably not happening, which I don't. This is the only thing I can think of why it's not happening, because of the RIP Tour meeting areas. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense since they're recessed and inside physical buildings. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe they don't want to build sets.
I apologize for derailing us on that.
Hey,
that
good.
impacts my rankings for the scare zone. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Number 2, Brennan.
Number 2 is going to Tortured Fair. I really like this zone. I thought it was at first, like probably the first half of the event, that was my number 1 scare zone for the season. I like the theming. I like that each person had a different form of torture. That was pretty cool to see. And then I liked how over time, they started interacting with one another. Like the witches were casting spells on people and doing things, and they were interactive with one another. So that was pretty cool. I don't understand the little hurdle things or whatever they are.
Saw horses.
Those are just to slow down the flow of guests. Slow down guest flow.
Dumb. But I liked it. The little stage show I liked. I thought it was cute. It was fun to watch for a little bit. I really don't have many negatives to say about that one. It just...
why is it not number 1 then?
Well, because my number 1 zone, I'll get to when we talk about it.
Number 2, Swamp Ass of the Undead. Loved the set design. I mean, you got a guy chopped up in the blades of an airboat. So good. Everything about the set design, excellent. Even after Brennan had mentioned that they added stuff, I still didn't see it, so that doesn't impact me one way or another. And I felt the energy was always consistent in there, regardless of how busy it was and how wet they were. And that's, some really good points. It's not easy to keep performing when wet, let alone inside or outside. And it's not just sweat. I dug it. Go Swamp.
Is that why it's Swamp Ass?
Oh, you know.
My number 2 is Torture Fair. Hey, high five, Brent.
Look at us,
high
Fish.
Five.
Same brain.
Yeah, no knock to Torture. Really enjoyed it. I liked it better than Vamp, even though the music in Vamp was better. But this is just not Plague Doctor nostalgia on my end. Man, massive Plague Doctor. So you all casting as Plague Doctors now. You got to be 6'4".
Big dudes.
Come on.
They were scary. They were intimidating.
Man. But yeah, really enjoyed this zone. Nothing. I have no negatives. It just wasn't my number 1.
Yep,
Thank you, Torture Fair. Y'all, you were fun.
Yep.
Loved
A+.
it.
You did great.
Loved it.
All right, and if you're following along at home, you should have figured out by elimination where everyone's falling for number 1. Quick blurbs on these, then we got to rocket through houses because we got another segment at the end of the show today.
Oh gosh, long show. Sorry.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
for
fine.
houses, maybe we'll just say them and not give long.
You can give a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah. All right, so my number 1 scare zone obviously is Demon Queens. I just had so many strong, great interactions with scare actors in this zone. Like, to me, the zone on paper, is it perfect? No. However, the actors made it for me. They were very interactive. I spent a lot of time in there just hanging out, watching. They really got to learn their space. And some of the scare actors were just on point. The whole, 45-minute set, I would sit there, I saw them come out and I would watch their whole set, and not once did they falter, or slow down or anything. It was great. Very impressive.
I cannot agree with you giving props to characters breaking character.
Oh,
that's not breaking character.
What they did with you was breaking character.
That was kind of breaking character, but it was I liked
100%.
it. It was funny.
Well, number 1, Torture Fair. Super involved cast. They figured out their roles quick. They committed to it. They were scary. They were moving despite the heavy crowd flow. They were able to move with speed, agility, and purpose, hitting their scares. They didn't ever really appear to be bored, despite it being a very long run with a lot of the same. The stage show, albeit not great, I'll still say, it made more sense than the Demon Queen one to me, and why Sinister was there. I mean, I understood what was happening compared to how Demon Queens was set up. Again, I'll keep the same feeling overall. Scare Zone's not strong again this year, and they're all very close to the same ranking, aside from Duality. But Torture Fair takes number 1 this go around.
It's interesting. I felt Surreal played way more better. The storyline was way more better than Demon Queen. Sinister seemed were dropped in a Ren Fair. Interesting. Demon Queens is my top. It's universally accepted as the top because it was Scare Zone of the Year. So Brennan and I are right on this topic. I don't care. They worked with minimal. They had very minimal character costumes. You got essentially, some of them were just wearing black cloths on their face. They were the most aggressive of the season. I am 6'1". Dude, they came at me nonstop, regardless of the character. Thank you. Demon Queens rocked. They were my favorite. I can't say more positives.
Okay, Fish, since this is your favorite too, I learned on the second to last night, or one of the last nights, and ZJ gave me this information. So if you're listening, ZJ, thank you for this insight. Did you know, and I wish this was somewhere on the website or the lore or just somewhere, did you know that each of the queens, their costumes were that intricate and like just how unique and everything? They're supposed to represent different mental issues.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no one did.
I was trying to figure
out why they look the way they look. Yeah, the one with vines growing up them and stuff was
what's
that was
the Chiquita
strangulation.
banana? What's the Chiquita banana one supposed to be?
Ugh, I forget. We'd have to have ZJ explain. But I know there was a paranoia, there was an anxiety, there was a strangulation, which I don't get that one for mental stuff, but whatever. There was a couple others. I forget. I'll ask ZJ.
Demon Queens. Best Scare Zone. Yeah. Moving on.
There's more than crowd pleasing that goes into picking scare actor, Scare Zone, and House of the Year. Well, come on, that's how it's picked, though.
I know
they could have had the least amount of health service calls, and that gives them a huge bump. Or at least they used to. I don't know how it is anymore.
Now we're on the. Now we're okay. I see where you're going with this.
Oh yeah, sausage making. Let me tell you. Let me tell you how it works.
You ready for houses?
Yes, I'm moving on.
Number 10.
10th house. What?
Number 10.
Oh. My 10th house, Fisher, you're not going to agree with me on this, so I already know we're not starting off as triplets of terror together. My 10th house is Universal Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines. I'm so sad putting a Monsters house as last. That's always in my top 3. I think that's why it stayed as number 10 for me. It never bumped up because it was just so sad to me.
And I'm in complete alignment. Universal Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines, bottom of, and I don't feel bad. I put the houses where they belong. They've been good consistently. So. Yes, that's a tough one to pull off, as they've done one scene with them before, and it's not easy. Very expensive costume. But Bloodlines, bottom of the heap. We have a lot of issues with this, and with energy, pacing, storyline, set design, consistency of the scares, and then what was going on in there. And even going on the Unmasking the Horror tour with ZJ, thank you, buddy. Even the tour guide's like, yeah, I don't know. This is what they told me to say. Okay. If you don't know, I've listened to the podcast. I've been through the house 10 plus times. There's nothing more I can extrapolate from here.
Okay, before I give my house, I would like to...
Let me give a 5-hour preamble.
No, I would like to state my resume for everyone who's listening. I started working the event in the 90s. I've been going to the event since the 90s, maybe before some of you have been born. So what I bring to this is maybe my rankings are just a little bit different than others, which is
that's
fine.
That's good.
I'm not saying that I'm right, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I am saying that anyone who does not have A Quiet Place ranked number 10 on their list is wrong. Outside of if you only visited this event one time. A Quiet Place was an interesting concept for Universal to tackle. The scariest part of the house was before you entered the house officially, because you started somewhere in a dark hallway, and it was a fantastic scare if you got it right. And then it just kind of went from there. John Krasinski, I never saw you. Why was there no lighting?
He was in there.
Looked left. I know you were there. Where were you? They never saw you. The actors were directed to walk towards you and put their hand up and say shush. The can man is shaking the cans. The dependency on the animatronics, I'm sorry, Universal, this house did not work. This is one of the worst houses I've ever been in.
Shoo.
From a experience standpoint. Understand, it looked great. It told the story of the movies.
You're walking through the sets of the movies. They did do that.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. This was number 10 2 weeks into my event, and it stayed number 10. It just did not work for me at all. That's a quiet place.
I think that's a completely fair
That is a
assessment.
fair assessment, and that's why it is my number 9. Quiet Place is my number 9. For pretty much the same. So why I did not put it as 10 was because of the reason if you only went once, you would maybe like it. I was taking that into consideration with my rankings, so that's why it's number 9.
Oh boy.
But I agree with everything that Fisher just said. Like, just copy paste into my answer, and that's why it's number 9.
That, but same.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All great points, and I completely agree. Number 9 for me is Monstros, the Monsters of Latin America. This house was a stinker. Some terrible design decisions on where actor placement was, on how they are able to approach the conga line and the guests. It just made it very difficult from the pull off. They're hiding, or their egresses, boo holes, and hiding areas were not well developed. Again, confusing storyline, not a great pacing, and then the best parts of the house, the animatronic, La Chuza,
The bird.
the bird, and then El Saboner, the old man puppet. Those were the two best parts, and those came directly from Hollywood, and it's number 9 in along with those pieces, because in Hollywood, with less budget and less in an alleyway where we had a soundstage, they did better in an alleyway than we could do here. And I've seen what it could have been, what it should have been. And then, of course, the El Sabone at the end on stilts, super good. But those 3 do not make a house good.
Yep.
It wasn't El Sabone on the stilts at the end.
Yep.
It was La Muerte, correct?
No, it was
No,
Sabone.
it was the bone.
Saboner, because he got them long
Outside
legs.
the house?
Yeah, at the exit.
Yeah.
I think it was La
What?
Muerte. Y'all look it up. I'm challenging you. Bren, how many times did I win Scare Actor of the Year? Just
You know, it took you an hour to say that. I was timing it. I was
Twice. There
wondering
you go.
how long
Okay.
it would take for
just
you
adding
to
to my
bring that
resume.
up.
Ugh.
Just adding to my resume. I mean, I do
I
have a
was
friendship
timing
bracelet that
that.
says that.
Mm.
So there you go. So whatever the drinking game y'all are playing. My number 9 is Museum Deadly Exhibits. I wanted it to
No.
be number 1. I apologize that it's not number 1. Sprung 10-1. You hold a special place in my heart. Again, I'm not going to critique you all too much. There was an effort to add more scare actors. My number 9 and my number 8 are interchangeable, so let me just say that. So you could be number 8, a museum, but your finale was extremely weak. That's not your fault, scare actors. They gave you costumes that you could barely move in.
They look real
Resets
cool,
were
though.
very hard in this house. The theming, it just didn't work. I apologize, museum. I wanted you to be the best. You were my number 1 on my hype list.
That was my number 1 also.
But
Yep.
yeah, I'm sorry, but
All right.
Sprung 10-1, redeem yourself next year, because that's where Darkest
Good
Blue
things
was.
happen. That's where
Good
Descendants
things
of
always
Destruction
happen in
was.
Sprung 10 number 1, y'all. What happened this year? I wish I wish it would have been better for you. So that's
Yeah.
my 9.
Right. My number 8. So this house at the beginning of the season started around, I'd say, number 4 for me. So it dropped a lot as the run went on. It's Triplets of Terror.
What?
This one dropped a lot for me.
Poor
This started,
triplets.
I'd say, like either 4 or 5 spot, and now it's 8. It just, I don't know if the actors got tired by the end of the event, which is fair. It just lost gas. Like, it just, there were a lot of holes towards the end. A lot
got
of the
no
scare
gas in
actors
it.
kind of just coming out just like meh kind of thing. And also, I feel like the storyline is not clear unless you do an RIP or Unmasking the Tour. Like, I feel like it's not super clear.
That's pretty consistent across the board, though.
Yes, agreed. But that's just one of the houses where you need to understand what's going on, or else you just have no idea what's going on. Where some of the other houses, maybe you can piece it together, but that one is just like, I don't understand what's happening.
What am I on? 8?
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Quiet Place, for reasons already stated.
All right. Very good.
Nothing else to add.
Here's my soapbox. I said 9 and 8.
I thought you've been on that this entire time.
I said 9 and 8 were interchangeable. My number 8 is Slaughter Cinema 2.
That's a good spot, though. I agree.
A lot of you have had this in your top 3, and I'm going to tell you the reasons of why it just does not work for me. When I evaluate a house, I go from overall experience from beginning to end. When you essentially cut a house off in the second half, and have rooms where I just walk through and look at things, it doesn't work for me. I need some type of scare, some type of entertainment in those rooms. This house starts so strong when we talk Mardi Gras, and we walk through a bed, and then there's some people standing there, and then we go through a room that has no decoration at all, but the zombies were awesome. And then we go through a couple of awesome demon hunters, great, fantastic, and then we enter the dead zone. And I'm sorry, I missed Kringles. Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Killer Kringles,
awesome, fantastic.
Yeah,
you start so strong, and you continue the strength of the house, and then you just go away. When I have multiple rooms where I just walk through and understand that I'm not going to get a scare, and I'm just going to walk through them. From that point to the finale, I'm sorry, it just does not work for me. I don't care about your blood and chum. There's no scare in that room. The mummies, cool, unstripped, yeah, cool concept, no scare. It's high wave. Then to what was after that? I don't know. It's on. Zyborgs, where you can't move in the costumes.
Because
it's so
I love
cumbersome.
Zyborgs.
Yeah,
they got
so
the fucking
cumbersome.
machine up there.
It's so cumbersome. And then you look up, and then guess what happens at the end? Nothing.
There's that guy that pops out of the
Gordon?
side.
Nothing.
Yeah,
There's
a drop door, and then some dude walks out that you have to never see. I'm sorry. Universal fam, no. This house starts and ends after Demon Hunters. It's over. 5 rooms were great. After that, it's done. It's number 8. It should have been lower probably, but that's how I roll.
All right.
I think that's good.
Fair. Right.
Best
Number
parts of the
7.
house were the things that weren't supposed to happen. So there you go.
All right. My number 7 is Monstros.
That's right.
Yeah, that one's
Stinker.
honestly. Yeah, it's just a couple good scares in there, mostly by Elsa Boner. I do like whoever the scare actors were that were what was it, La Muerte?
La Muerte. The guy at the beginning.
They were great. Yes, whoever those scare actors were, they took their role. They did very well with it. But there were so many times in that house that I would walk through, and the first like 3 or 4 rooms, not a single person. Like in like the baby snatcher monster, whatever. But nothing. Not one person. I was like, all right, well, yeah, I was like, all right, well, it's a cool stroller, I guess. Just like, okay,
there's
on.
blood in that stroller.
Yeah, all right, like
it had the bird shit smell. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh boy, number 7. I say these are rather interchangeable. No. Actually, not yet. Next one, 6 and 5 are interchangeable. Number 7, Slaughter Cinema 2. A lot of the echoing what Fisher's already mentioned. Terribly inconsistent. The highs and lows are such a gap between them. Like the lows are real bad and the highs are pretty good. I prefer the original iteration of Slaughter Cinema. It's fun. I like Mardi Gras Murders. I like the Killer Clowns Underground. I like Killer Kringles. I do like the Zyborgs because they're cool looking. But otherwise, they can keep it. I know. I mean, I'm not saying that the actor's ability was not limited. It certainly was. It was definitely cool though.
It matched kind of the end of Museum, where they were the bloaters, right? You couldn't move around. So, I mean, you can't expect these people to go nonstop when you're putting them in a costume that,
it's bigger than the doorway. Yeah. So, Slaughter Cinema, number 7. Number there.
Do we want to switch? Can we start with me for 7 and then we'll go to Bren? What do you think, producer?
Well, you're closing out this one. You can then
Yeah.
start
Oh,
up again.
wait. Oh, I'm on 7. I'm sorry.
Well, on
I'm
7.
sorry. I'm the last one on 7. 7 was Monsters Eternal Bloodlines.
Phew!
Yeah, no, it stayed consistent.
Yeah, consistently bad.
Well, 7 and 8. I will say that. I like you. Where was the Saskia? I didn't like that one. That's Saskia. I saw you. You gave me the eye and you laughed at me because you scared me. I saw you. Don't really need a very big storyline for this. I mean, when have we had intricate storylines for monsters' houses? There are a bunch of monsters.
All of them. Okay, they've been very convoluted storylines.
Well, here we tried to create a storyline and it didn't work. And your point is good, Bill, where the narration's going, right? So you want to have this storyline. I had a bunch of jump scares in this house. I just did. They got me. Nice. They got me a few times. I had some good timing in this house. That's what it was. And then I walked through rooms and there was no one there. And that's unfortunate. Shout out to the room that we called out on a show that the three of us recorded at one point and said, why is there no one in this room? And then the bride appeared all of a sudden. I think they were listening, Brad. I feel like they were listening. I think
they listened to Park Talk.
Yeah, I feel like y'all love us.
Yeah, it's just on constant loop in all the green rooms.
Yeah, I say us in love. That it's
we have good ideas.
We're just one big family. But yeah, I wish you would have been so much higher if you just had some consistency in when everyone was there. I wish everyone would have been there because the scares seem to be there every once in a while. So I'll give you some love, Monsters. You're 7.
The blood moon never rose properly. No.
So did you want to start on the next one, Fisher? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to go 6. So let's do this. So let's go Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is my 6. It was very close. Again, this is interchangeable with my number 5. And the reason that I gave this a 6 was because of the dependency on the actors to be there for the scenes to actually happen. I think we talked about this a little before. So let's talk about the scene that you go through and you see Ecto 1, and then you see Fire Dude, whatever that guy's name is. You see the Ghostbuster, and then you see a Garaka. Yep. When you're missing people, it just doesn't work. And that scene just didn't work for me at all. As you lead into a finale, they had a loop of a movie playing in the background, and it would get stuck. And then they're just standing there, and Garaka's itching its shoulder, and it seemed really odd.
Got the old Garaka itch.
It was so inconsistent in scenes where you want him to be strong. I really enjoyed this house, though. Great scenes, some great scares. But when you get me to the end, and it's Annie Potts saying, "What? Just where do you think you're going?" Yeah. After you went through
terrible finish.
Garaka's itching his shoulder. It just didn't work. I'm sorry. Really enjoyed this house. Fantastic in a lot of areas, but that's why it fell out of my top 5. It was the inconsistency, the dependency on scare actors to be there. When there were holes, they were so evident. But man, when that house was staffed, it was a great house.
Did you like the Garaka at the end, outside the exit?
I loved it. It.
If he was there, right?
Garaka's in the house outside of the scene where it's the finale were fantastic. That just didn't work. It's visible the whole time. So you need a break. You can't stand there and act the entire time when you got conga line going through. So the fact that you're visible the whole time, that just didn't work.
It's very tough.
It was not set up in a way that allowed the scare actors to shine.
Completely agree.
Yeah, fair.
Number 6 is going to Triplets of Terror. I had this one way lower on the hype list. It slowly grew over time. I still don't agree with the house design you have. And this is fairly consistent across the entire event. Again, why are our actors so far away from the line? Why are they so far away from the guests to be able to manipulate and interfere with how they're feeling and manipulate their emotions and the scares? They're just so far away, and when they're close, I don't know. It didn't quite hit. So number 6 is where it's fallen here this year.
And that's fair. My number 6 is Museum. This one, at the beginning of the run, started at like number 9. So this one grew a lot on me. The actors got more comfortable in their spots. There were multiple times I thought those people were actually going to run into me. They were so aggressive. they did the best with what they could. I think the house did them no favors. I think they did great for what they could do. So that's why it's where it is.
Poor museum.
Now, that's a really good point, though, Brent, because it was not on the actors. They were very aggressive. The design just did not seem to work very well.
Like they were great. The actors were great. It was just the house setup, the layout, the story, the finale, the costumes.
Just didn't work. The mask thing, dude. That guy was going crazy. Like they were trying.
Yeah,
they were really
trying very hard. Kudos to those people, especially. I mean, I'm sure they saw online all the hate that house was receiving too, and so to then still try as hard as they were and then to even improve upon it, like, kudos to them.
Absolutely. All right, top 5 fish, cracking it.
Oh, me first?
Yeah, you again.
Okay, Monstros. Monsters of Latin America. Now here's the deal. It was my number 2 after 2 weeks into the event, and it's the largest decline. But it still landed in my top 5. Again, I said between that and Ghostbusters, I ended up with Monstros, and sometimes it just takes one experience with me, team, to turn me to take you from 6
I'm
to
believing
5.
now.
So here you go. The reason that I went from 6 to 5 was Chilapucci. I don't know how to say it.
Tahalapucci.
You stared me down in the most creepy ways. Before I go into that hallway where you jump out of that curtain on the left, you stared me down like I had a baby that you wanted so bad to steal. That made it for me. This house started so strong. The cast was on fire early in the event, and then I think they suffered from some holes and some inconsistency in the finale with the animatronic. But shout out to the person who ran that Elsa Bone puppet head thing, because you dropped people throughout the year. We saw the cast go in for their last set, and everyone gave them the standing ovation. And I saw the person who ran that Elsa Bone puppet, and they were all fired up. So just some inconsistency in the house this year. I don't understand why the Ring doorbell was there. Y'all explain that to me.
There was a Ring doorbell and an iPhone in there to simply show that it's set in modern day.
Okay.
That was it.
It didn't work for me. Didn't understand it.
It didn't add anything to the house now.
Yeah. Again,
no reason.
It's in my top 5. But it declined the most for me throughout the event.
Hey. Super fair. What is this, number 5? Museum Daily Exhibit. Man, this should have been the killer. This should have been all-timer. Just the concept, again, as mentioned many times, fully fleshed out, had a real great idea, something we haven't really seen before, at least in this kind of setting. And man, again, it came down to house construction and the pacing of it. I think some of the choices on the characters to include. I like the guards. I like the big bloater dudes. I like the Vikings. But then we have a goblin in here, and then just random stuff. You got the sheet guy.
That's a good point.
Sheet guy's here.
Why?
The mask guy was kind of neat with the light up mask.
Goblin, you're supposed to be over in the.
Yeah, it's like you got lost on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've gone a little bit more than just a singular, European death was the subject of this museum. Should have been a bit more spread out, and let the rotting stone actually infect it from front to back. And the finale should have just been that growth. The entire place was growth, with the stone sitting solemnly at the end, just saying, "Yep, I fucking did it."
Yeah, the finale in that was just nothing.
Theme this year. Some finales just were,
that was a finale.
It's here's everything we fucking did, or someone's yelling at you. But museum hits number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Ghostbusters. This one, pretty much everything same. Bustin'. Same thing that Fisher said, pretty much. Set design, fantastic. When the house was full of people, and had the actual actor for Slimer. It was fantastic.
Slimer fully operational.
Now Slimer's on a stick. I don't understand. But
Slimer on a stick?
I don't understand that, but whatever. when
I think they had someone put their arms in it now. I think that was the. I was trying to continue to look. It looked like it was stick, and I think they just put their arms through it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where's your stick?
Yeah, but yeah, same ideas same thing that Fisher said. When everyone was there, it was great. It was fun. Some decent scares in there. Oh my gosh. Actually, your dad got so turned around in that like dark room where like multiple of those scare factors are. He got so turned around he started going into a boo hole. And again. And what is that like female ghosty character's name?
The library ghost?
Yes. That one, literally, that's where her boo hole was, and literally chased him out of it.
That room was solid. Holy
that
crap.
room
That's a
was
super good room.
scary.
That's
that
when
room was actually scary.
Yeah, that room had nothing to do with Frozen Empire, and that was the best freaking room.
It was, yeah. But yeah, so that's my number 5.
All right. Start us off number 4, Fish. Or hitting.
Is this me?
Hitting the good ones.
Well, you should kick off the top 3
all
after
right,
we do 4. All right, let's mix it up. All right, here we go, team. Highest riser of the events. I have major love for you. Number 4, Triplets of Terror. You'll be in my heart. You have endured so much hate over this season, and thankfully, I went through your house the most, tied with goblins this year, because your weights were slow. Your weights were low. Excuse me. I got to see how much love that cast had for each other. I got to go through that house, and we got out at about 1:55 a.m. before we got into the Insidious line, and the love that cast gave for us, and the Junior and Melody and Harmony, the consistency that I saw. And Brent, I apologize that you didn't get to see this. I saw the consistency with that cast. They got into their characters regardless of the story. I don't need an intricate story. It's Rob Zombie-esque. It's gory.
Yeah.
It's people every 10 years we're going to kill. I don't care if I need to see that you're older or whatever. I get it. Kill scenes, just gore, and there was a camaraderie with that cast that I could see. And they had a fan base. It was not as intense as the Cats and Combs, okay? But we had people coming through that were dressed, that had birthday hats on, that came through. And the cast, like, it just, I saw it. Y'all brought it. You all had very minimal to work with. And I appreciate Triplets is my highest riser from 6 to 4. Shout out Triplets of Terror. I dig you.
So what's up?
I dig you.
I enjoy the house. What are we on? Number 3. No, number 4.
No, still.
Number 4.
No, I haven't said my 5th.
Fifth.
Wait, you didn't do 5. I thought you did. Your 5 was Ghostbusters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I can't count.
Number 4. Insidious.
Hey, contrarian. That's Bill.
Contrarian. Look, I've already said this. I can't, in good conscience, and just because of how I feel towards the event, IP is not going to get number 1 ever for me. And Insidious, you don't got a story here, pal. You have some pretty decent scares, I'll say, but you have the egregious presentation of several mannequin rooms, which one is more than enough. You have, and Internal and Bloodlines was guilty of this as well, where allegedly there's purposefully empty rooms to be a trick room, so you're expecting a scare, but there's nothing there. No, doesn't fly anymore. And I just, there's no story and having no real care about the Insidious franchise. I think it's actually a very poor franchise as a whole. Because of the bad story, and not having a story does not absolve it of being bad in the film quality. The house is too long, and your curtain room and your breathing man, stinky last key mouth guy are your highlights, and then your finale is just, here's everybody, get out. Number 4, Insidious.
Yeah, can I make one quick point on this?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
I
do.
Wow,
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
Perfect. Can I make a point?
I'm
Yep.
sorry.
I don't know.
IP. Like, this is what I want you. Like you said, there's no story in IP houses. Correct. They're just telling the story of the houses. So why do we critique the original so much? Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's just it. When you're ranking your houses and you're aligning things, why do we say, oh, the story didn't work for me? What was the story of Ghostbusters? What was the story of A Quiet Place? What was the story of Insidious? It's just a culmination of all of the stuff. So anyway, I'm sorry, but all right.
Ghostbusters followed the movie mostly.
It did not.
Mostly.
No, it didn't. As soon as you go in after the room with the firemen, it goes into the sewer of Ghostbusters 2. There's no story there. That's what I'm saying. Like, we critique the originals so much. I'm with you. I go originals all year long. All right, that's my thing. I don't want to like the IPs because of that reason. Like, I want to get into a story, but I'm sorry, Brent. You're number 4.
My number 4. So this one literally fell out of my top 3 the last Wednesday of the run or of the season.
I know why.
Because it was the most disappointing run of this house probably ever, or probably of a house ever. This period. It was Slaughter Cinema 2.
Period.
Just that last run, or not last run. The run I had on Wednesday with ZJ and no, it was on the last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, never mind. It wasn't on the Wednesday. It was just on the last night. It was when all of, like, our whole group of 17 went through, and that was their only night to do it. No, that was with my sister. Why am I blanking?
It was your sister.
I can't remember what night.
Oh, my
Okay, so
God.
it was with my sister. That was her first Horror Nights ever, and her only night to go. And that run, we all walked out of it, and your dad was like, they should be ashamed of that. Like, that's exactly what your dad said. They should be ashamed. Yeah. Half the rooms had not one actor in them.
Killer Kringles was empty.
Yeah. Half the rooms.
3 actors in that one and nothing.
Yeah, just empty. Which
not
is just so unfortunate. Because, not a cast change. Just that was just what they had on November 1st, I guess. But that night aside, I really liked that house. It was, yes, it was inconsistent, but when it hit, it really hit. So, and also one of my friends from grade school was one of the pukers in the Mardi Gras room, and he won Scare Actor of the Year. So, congrats,
best
David.
room of the house. Best room of the house. I'm sorry, Brent. I was going to say Brennan. I'm sorry, Bill. Do you want to kick off number 3?
Number 3. Yep, number 3, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Hey, this house is a jam. So much fun and better than the movie, which is usually not the case. Except now we've done it 2 years in a row where Exorcist Believer House better than the movie, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire better than the movie. Super solid scares. Set design is awesome. Garaka, scary dude. The quadruple scare hallway. You're going down, and yes, I'll say 3 of the 4 performer, or no, if 3 of the 4 pieces in here are not from Frozen Empire. But you get scared into the hall by Vigo the Carpathian. You get pushed left by a demon dog. You get pushed right by Garaka. Then you get pushed left again by whatever that guy was. You got the librarian on the screen. You got the sideways scare, and then you get that guy again. So there's like 5 to 7 opportunities to be scared in this one tiny scene, and
potentially one of the best rooms the entire year. Yeah,
I would say that's probably my favorite one. Very true. The performers look good for the most part to their film counterparts, but very, very similar feeling to Fish. When this thing falls apart, it falls apart in spectacular fashion. If you're missing some of these face characters, and the finale is rough.
Just where do you think you're going?
Just let the finale be Garaka scratching his shoulder. Don't get rid of Janine. She's already popping out once.
I feel so bad that Garaka had an itch, and it was right when I was walking through the last time. That was my final impression of you.
Garaka's jock itch.
But that scene just never worked anyway. With the the VCR turned off. It was like it was a looped video, and oh gosh, I'm sorry. All right,
number 3.
Hey, Bren, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is going to Major Suites. That house I thought was so chaotic, super
travesty.
Fun. It was decently consistent. Had good scares. All the actors were great. and I had a very weird experience in it, but that was my own doing, I guess. So
My
Yeah,
number
you
my
poisoned
number three.
yourself.
My number 3 is also Major Sweets. It's what I don't understand why you huff and puff. It's in my top 3, man.
It should be
I know
top
Insidious.
2.
I know your Insidious was a number 1. I get it. Major Sweets was my number 3, and I had a lot of fun in this house. I had high expectations going into it. It met the mark and everything. The characters were fantastic.
this one actually, I think, it grew the most for me.
Yeah, it just it was so fun, gory, right? Just sadistic.
Oh yeah.
But just in the 3 characters. Well, I'd say Taffy kind of didn't play as much of a major role as I would have wanted Taffy to play.
But our experience with Mrs. Treats.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna mention that, Bren. Now,
Yeah.
Miss Treats number 1. I love you. I love you. If we played our superlative game of what my daughter said of who would you want to go out on a
you
date
date?
with, Miss Treats number 1. You are awesome. I love you. They're like the scare actors were fantastic. We had one run with a bad experience on that character who appears or sometimes does not appear later in the house. But shout out. The house was so fun. And let's all say it together. At the very end, 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Destroy the evidence. Love it.
Fucking good.
Major Sweets. So good.
All right. Who's
Am
doing?
I number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
Your 3 was Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, 3 was Ghostbusters.
Where was
for
your
me.
Insidious? Did I miss them?
Number 4.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Number 2. Oh man, I really had a tough time because I had a clear number 1 for the first 6 weeks. It wasn't a challenge, and then this guy just kept creeping up and up, and it was a solid top 5. Then top 3. Now we're in the top 2. Number 2 though, Major Sweets Candy Factory. Fucking fun house. Gory's can be. I love the body horror, all the voice, the sound bites of the voice guys. Don't go in there. It's the candy. And then Major Sweets just laying out his full plan. He's like, all right, come into my office. Here's everything that's going on. Destroy the evidence. Magic. Slows down. Mistreats. Very inconsistent if they were there or not. And I give them some leniency. It's tough role. They're just reciting the pre-recorded monologue. It's not the most fun. It's not exciting. It's not screaming you off into the night about evidence being destroyed. But there's a lot of great pieces here, and they've broken the curse of the Fast and Furious tent. This thing was really good. Best house they've done there by far. And they brought back the hammers from Carnival Graveyard. That's always a welcome addition. Some new, different, scary sounds.
Bill, with your experience, did it give you old school Cleaver?
Oh yeah, this was
vibes.
This is a grimy. Just here's some scary people and some scary things. And this is a classic, kind of a classic Horror Nights house where the story's not heavy. It really is not.
Oh.
It's the week before the parade that occurs in the scare zone back in 2018.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Again, I don't care. It's a candy factory. The candy turns the kids evil. That's all I need to know. Short storyline. I don't need intricate.
Yeah, that was easy.
No, gory body horror. They had the triggers that were scary, and it felt like a grimy ass candy factory. And Major Sweets was pulling it off.
And it's great, except when Miss Treats rolls her eyes.
Mhm.
All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Who do you want to go, Bill?
Brennan, you
Okay.
take number 2.
My number 2. Okay, so my number 1 and 2 are honestly tied. They're interchangeable, just. But on my list right now, I have number 2 is Goblin's Feast. I absolutely adore this house. Those scare actors in there are all fantastic. The costume design is fun. Their little bulging eyes. And I think that house had some of the best quotes out of it, like takeaway quotes out of it too.
No, I don't know. Your number 1 has some of my favorite sound bites.
Number
They're
2
terrible, but they're there.
Yeah, number 2 for me is Goblin's Feast. I loved it. So much fun going through this house. Some of the greatest scare actor interactions. I loved the different. Everyone was different. There wasn't just the same masks and costumes throughout. It told the story, very easy to understand. Huge dudes. When we thought going into this, low hype, right? It's just going to be a bunch of very small, goblins. No, monster freaking tall beast looking dudes who timed their scares out at some point. It was so fun from the beginning to the end. Very consistent house. Loved Goblin's Feast. You're my number 2.
Travesties. Goblin's Feast, number 1 for Big Bill. This house in a brand new sprung tent shows what we can do. And this was the baseline, since this is a new tent. And this is the exclamation of a house of what you're doing with a new space. And this is their first foray into it. They can go bigger. These tents are gigantic. Before you even step inside, you have a beautiful facade that explains the whole story. And you got this, you got the ogre, and this human chained up slave trying to escape. He's like, quiet, meat. You'll scare the rest of the cattle. You got the story. There's people being harvested. You got the nice little Easter egg where it says Goblin's Feast on the banner underneath Human Chop House. And you go in and you're immediately invited into the party. You got goblins dancing, having fun, vivisecting humans. It's not ready yet. And then you got the giant in the background screaming and like stamping his feet like a child because he wants to eat.
Hagrid.
Yeah. Dead Robbie Coltrane back there. You got the Kong hand coming out, and then just the scale and the thought line of this, and you could see through different scenes further into the house. As you made mention, similar to the multi-faceted Ghostbusters scare, another extremely well done time scare if they pulled off, where you're walking down in the dungeon, or prior to the dungeons where you're like in the ground moat. You got 3 big ogres that if they time it, you're falling into the wall.
What are y'all doing? Y'all blocking my path. Y'all coming at me all at the same time, making me jump. Like, come on. Y'all, come on. I'm scared actually here 2 times, Bren. Tell them.
Watch out.
What are you doing?
Watch out,
Jumping out at me all at the same time. How dare you?
I love what they did. This is the same house designer as Blood Moon. Not that impacted the score. It's just a nice coincidence. And it was excellent. I didn't care that they used drop doors, but hey, there was so much good going on, and the gore and the great pacing and flow of the storyline. It was awesome. Eek, guards, they're getting away.
Oh, I'm taking my number 1. I'm gonna lead it to Brent because her and I have the number 1. It's Insidious, and I understand. Bill, I understand. Contrarian Bill. It's universally accepted. It was House of the Year.
Yeah.
And the reason that I will say I had some inconsistency in this house. I will say that is a critique, but I have not been through a Horror Nights house where sometimes I'm like, okay, geez, like my hair standing up on my arms. I'm like, I'm gonna get nailed. And when I knew where the scares were coming from, I got to walk through the house with people. Even when you're standing in line, sometimes the people that are standing in front of you, even if you don't know them, you're like, oh boy, I'm trying to warn them. I'm like, y'all, I'm going to be behind you walking through the line. You're going to get nailed. And it's going to be, and just watching them get just completely destroyed with the scares. The brides, oh my God, brides. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, brides. That's my first time I've cursed on your show. Oh my God. Yes, you were right, Bill. There were some rooms where nothing happened. I almost think it was like, get your heart rate down. Just 5 beats per minute. Just give you a second to calm down. And even though it took multiple weeks for me to get even the curtain area, right? That was shift change stuff, cast change stuff. Oh man. Just so good. So good. And I'm not an IP person, y'all. For me to put this up there means something, and they deserve it. And scare actor effort it means something to me.
They were huff puffing.
Mm-hmm.
That means something to me, y'all. And I trust me, it was very evident as you walk through the house.
Yeah, I'll go next, I guess, since piggybacking off of what Fisher said. So yeah, Insidious is my number 1, and also for me, it's weird for me to have an IP as number 1. I don't think I've ever had that before. It's always an original. But I guess I said Goblin's Feast and Insidious are tied for number 1, so I guess it's kind of best of both worlds there.
Cop out.
But I go to Horror Nights to get scared. That's why I go. It's for the scary environment, to get scared, and that's the house that scared me the most this year and was most consistent with scares for me. Even when I knew where they were coming from, they would still get me. They were the most aggressive, of course, and man, they just got in my face, and like one of them, without touching me, basically pinned me against a wall, and it was great. It was just A+ effort. I think that deserved House of the Year. I mean, if they gave it to Goblins, I would have agreed also, though. But all right, Bill.
Yeah, we that was our last house
that was it.
My daughter and I went through, and I didn't remember the bride. You're on the right. Held flowers out for us because we gave the props. So we're clapping for everybody as we were going through the house. And he was the bride was trying to hand us flowers, and I was like, I don't remember the bride having flowers.
No.
Is she trying to give it to us? Like, is this a gift?
Yeah,
we didn't take it. I'm sorry.
Am I gonna get yelled at?
I'm sorry, bride. We didn't take it. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to touch. I know how it
yeah,
works.
like
But
I
anyway.
can't touch that.
Mm-hmm. Damn, Insidious was so good this year.
It was.
Very serviceable house. It was good scares. Good effort. Huffpuff, and I don't discredit the Huffpuff. I am very familiar with the Huffpuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it top though.
Work hard is what we do. Right,
That's
Bill?
right.
That's what we do.
All
That's
right,
what-
is it time
that's what we
for our
do.
superlatives?
Yes, we're closing out. We are going to wrap up with 6 superlatives that each of us will briefly
What?
award
What's
to
this?
pieces of the event.
Well, this is original.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate our
No one's ever done that. on
our
the
our
podcast.
ghostwriter for submitting these to us to talk about. There's many more, but we're cutting it down to 6 as we've gone
7,
along. But
but
let's
yes.
7, 1, 2. Oh, the first one's kind of one and the same. But we're gonna start at the top. I will read them, and then we'll just go round robin as we have been, and you can talk briefly, once again, briefly, on why you've picked this. So the first one is the most consistent house and the least consistent house. We're gonna do this in one breath.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Most consistent.
Yeah,
Goblins.
most consistent.
Goblins.
Okay. And least consistent. So do both at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Montrose.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, my most consistent is also Goblins. My least consistent is Slaughter Cinema 2.
And you may expound briefly if you so wish going forward.
Like I said, when it hit, it was fantastic. But when it didn't hit, it was just not good. Like with all the holes, when you have a whole room that only has 2 people in it and one of them's missing, it's like.
Oy.
why-
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Thing falls apart.
Yeah.
Most consistent house for me was Universal Monsters Turtle Bloodlines. I knew what I was getting every single time. I knew I was never going to see the zipline scare. I knew the storyline wasn't going to make sense, and I knew that there would be holes. So I was never let down by that one. And then least consistent, echoing Brennan, Slaughter Cinema 2. Hey, you can jam, but most times I just never knew when you would.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand why it's
couldn't
so
take-
high on people's rankings.
Yeah, I could
because of
not.
that.
Because when it did
Fathom
hit,
it.
it was great.
Yeah,
That's
it
why.
it was good, right? But it got just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
And shout out to Triplets who's very close to being my most consistent.
No,
but I
completely
just
agree.
compared rankings, and that's why I went Goblins.
Our next award that we're handing out for the 2024 season is our favorite scare actor.
Oh God, this is hard.
Ray, do you want me to go? I have mine.
I have a tie, and it comes down to the finale Major Suites and finale Goblin Court announcer because of their excellent phrases as they send you off into the sweet goodnight, destroy the evidence, as we've already shouted together, and then with the Goblin announcer, eek, guards, the food, it's getting away. It gave me such a smile on the way out, and both those actors and both casts of both those actors fully invested into that shout as you left.
So, yeah, my favorite scare actor is also the one at the end of Goblins. I specifically like that actor more. Well, one, the line that, the food is escaping. I like that line more. But then also, compared to the one that you were saying in Sweets. I feel like the one in Goblins had more body language to it. It just, like, really got into the role. Like, they, like, snatched their hands up when they went, eek. Yeah.
Especially for a spot where you will
You
not
are
look
in a
at them.
corner,
You will not see them unless you do a full 180 as you're
Yes.
leaving or you're watching from the outside.
Yeah. So that's why they're my favorite.
So good.
I will
And
answer
the costume
for
design, too.
Yeah, I'll answer from my daughter because that's her favorite. The goblins, the end dude goblins.
Go this person. They were
Major
great.
heart hands came from that person. But y'all are right. Like, can we stop having to turn on the way around when we're going
I
out?
want to see the finale.
Yeah,
I want to
can
be
you-
involved here.
Yeah, like chase us out. Like give us something that like sends us out that we don't have to turn all the way around. It's almost the same as Major Sweets. You got to look really hard to the right as you're going out the
Unless
door.
he impeded your walkway.
Yeah, okay, so that's hers. My favorite was Bride to the Right. After you go through the mannequins and the person's there, Bride to my right. You're my favorite.
The flowers.
Yeah, you gave me the flowers. I didn't take them. And honorable mention to every triplets. That's my honorable
God.
mention.
Yeah, the one on the porch.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Stew kid. Gonna get their stew. All right, third award to the closure of the 2024 season. What do you feel is the worst role to have at this year's event?
All right. Mine was easy.
Go ahead.
The person who moves Ecto 1 back and forth.
You got mine, Brent.
Was that yours?
It
Oh, that one's easy.
It was. I didn't
You
know
have
it.
no face credit. You have nothing. You're just back there, just scooting it back and forth all night. That sucks, man. Like,
Who the heck was that? Was it? I thought this. So maybe Nick from Fear and Beer podcast might have said that. I had no idea. I thought it was on a track. I heard this somewhere. I heard
was
it.
us.
And I was like,
It was us.
was it y'all?
Yeah.
The
I think it was us,
six house
yeah.
tour.
Yeah, ZJ and I did
Oh,
that one. We found out there's a
God,
guy just pushing it back and forth.
That role sucks.
do you think that person had to audition? And then
They
that's what
auditioned.
They got?
No, they auditioned like any other character, and they got.
And
put
then
there.
that's what they got?
They got
Dude, that
cast to go
sucks.
there.
Yeah.
They may
You
have
know-
gotten hazard pay just because of that kind of motion and you're moving weight. But
That's probably where they
that
would've
does
put me.
stink.
That's awful.
Well, they got to be probably in just grays or blacks and had to wear no makeup.
Yeah.
Had to wear no mask.
Blew out your knee. Yeah. Just sit in your chair and push this thing.
Hey, I don't,
Honorable mention to the blend into the wall of the museum.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Those are honorable mention.
yeah. Those ones are always hard to pull off. I feel you're out there in the public. It's
Yeah.
not like we're blind. We see that there's something coming
Most
off the
likely
wall.
to get punched in the face.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, Phil, what's your-
Worst role, I got a tie, and I completely forgot about the Ecto 1 guy, but I think that's an actually pretty easy one since you don't have to wear any makeup, no costume
just
really, except
sucks.
for
Like-
blacks or grays. But yeah, it sucks, but hey, it's easy. Tie for me, Can Man and Quiet Place. Fuck that role, dude. How boring. You take one step forward, monotone face, no emotion, just dead eye straight, and wiggle your can bag. Ugh, I'd be killing myself. And then tied with that is the sheet guy in Museum Degley exhibit because of how damn long his trigger is. It's probably a 7-second trigger and it has 3 different activations during it where it's a one loop where it goes, and you gotta stay out there doing every movement, otherwise it looks dumb and you're not following show direction. That would suck. It's not even, and it's not scary because it's not fast, it's not loud, and you're just kind of billowing.
You're just wiggling. Just
And wiggles are not scary. 2024 superlative of funniest memory of the season.
All right, Fish, you want to go first? Or
Yeah, it was initially Mrs. Claus walking to the back of Mardi
That's
Gras
mine.
Murders.
Yeah.
But number 2, and taking the top spot was Mardi Gras Murder sword jester dropping his sword as I walked through with my daughters and her friends, and then it got kicked over into the metal hell, and he walked over and he had to pick up his sword and then give us a little dance. So there you go, funniest memory. Shout out, dude! You were the awesome. That guy was freaking awesome.
He's
Yeah,
lucky
that's so funny.
that played well with it being a clown jester.
yeah, so we can
Exactly.
just be silly with it.
Would have
like-
it could have worked out nice.
Give us a little dance, dude. You're great.
That's
I
really
love you.
funny.
I love
Yeah,
you. I'm sorry,
mine-
you're number 8.
My funniest memory was in that same room with Fisher when we were walking through and it was cast change and we just see Mrs. Claus walking in the back of New Orleans, just She's in the bayou walking back there. Like, what you doing back there, Miss
It's Christmas in the bayou.
Yeah.
She got
That
the
was
naughty
so
list. That
funny.
jester was on the naughty list.
That was so funny.
My funniest memory comes from Halloween night, watching Big Talk co-host Dave black out after doing less than half the houses and proclaiming to the gods in the sky, I can't, my legs don't work, someone take me home.
Yep.
And it's just a blemish on the show. You ruined us. You've ruined us. Penultimate superlative of the year, 2024 Halloween Horror Night season. In what house would you take a nap?
Well, because it's so quiet, and also because it would put me to sleep because it's not a good house. A quiet place.
Canman's in there. What are you talking about?
Your favorite role.
Uh-huh.
I'm changing mine. There was a bed in Monstrose, and it was very inconsistent. And sometimes there wasn't an actor there.
Anything in there.
Steal
Nice
my
and
baby.
quiet.
I'm laying down.
There
Yeah, you're making my life better.
You can still hear La Muerte singing. Oh, la, 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 la. So I'm like, that would put me to sleep. So there you go.
Just the droning on.
I'm napping in Monstrose.
Well, you go grab your iPhone, put on your favorite damn Ramsey podcast, and then until someone hits your Ring doorbell, and you're like, oh God, who's there? I would take a nap in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It's nice and cold. And then, what's her face? McKenna Grace, the actor. She's taking a nice little ghost nap in that tank. Looks pretty comfy. And I gotta think, that's not too bad. I just am a little ghost guy, and I can just sleep.
Yeah.
Nice and chill. One. And our final award, superlative acknowledgement of the year, and closing out PTR's coverage of Halloween Horror Nights 2024 HHN 33. What was your most moment of the year?
Tool time.
Oh?
Who's taking this first? I got to think about it.
I'll start us off. My big Where were the stilts in the streets? Just, what are we doing? Where are they?
Yeah.
Well, we can dive into speculation and rumors, but that's not really what we do in the show outside Horror Nights, and this is way more behind-the-scenes stuff than I feel that I should talk about. Still big honkin' Where are my stilts?
Yeah.
I like them.
I agree. I like them too.
All right, what's your
My is in one of the houses, and so it's just like I know it's not that big of a deal, but it's just one of those. So, the Barmy triplets.
Yes.
Did their parents buy them the exact same clothing for as they age throughout their whole life? Why do they? How
did
are they
they
wearing
kill the
everything?
parents when they were 9?
Yes, but I'm saying before that, they're in the exact same outfits when they're 9 as when they're 10 years later, and then 10 years later, and then
10 years later, they're buying their own stuff.
The exact same outfits?
Yeah, why not?
No.
Well, I'm sure that's consistency for the house.
I know what it is, but it's
you just got HUD.
I know what it is. I know it's so you know who they are.
Get HUD.
Just
get HUD.
Like, why do they have the same outfits as from when they're 9 to 49?
69.
They had a good tailor, and they just made him bigger.
Make me bigger.
That's my
Honey, I blew up the kid. His clothes stayed the same.
It's a good point, though. They didn't have to have an age. They didn't have to have... Everything could have happened within the same year. That's a good point, Brent.
Yeah,
they could have all had the same masks still. Yeah, they each had different masks and then different clothes.
It wouldn't make sense. They rain terror over a community. Oh, God. Wow, we could get into a whole podcast about this because a podcast was recorded about Triplets of Terror. My biggest was, gosh, you know what? I wanted to go with the Choose Your Path, but I'm going with the finale of Monstrose with the La Muerte that just was a static thing.
2. His head moves?
No.
Just didn't get it.
Spirit Halloween things are better than that.
Why? Why do you have all these cool things in the house and then...
Then that's it. Just... that's a good
another to scare zones in general, to duality of fear, to the mascots, to Otis.
To this long episode.
To this long episode, and that's where we're gonna say so long, farewell. We look forward to Halloween Horror Nights 2025, HHN 34.
Bring it.
Yeah, let's see what you got. Are we gonna get Five Nights at Freddy's? Probably not. But
nope, we're not gonna get that.
Nope, not gonna get it. Let's get The Thing. Bring back The Thing.
Hey,
we love The Thing.
We get Aiello back. Let's go. Let's back.
Do it.
Let's
Things
go.
Back.
Let's get Catacombs. Where's Patrick at? Bring back Catacombs 2.0. Let's go. Hey, if it got to wait till 35 to get Catacombs, it's coming back.
So be
Cats
it.
and Combs. Send the messages. Where are you all out right now? You got Reddits. You got the Discords. How do you get the messages out there? Make them do it. Catacombs 2.0.
And if you are unaware, they start planning and creative before the current Horror Nights even begins. I believe they're on an 18-month planning timeline. So for 2025, they started 18 months ago. Or they're 18 months out from the year.
You just told me I'm not getting Catacombs. So okay.
No. Well, we don't know. I don't know what's coming next year. Maybe one, but I don't know. So thank you all for your journey with us through Halloween Horror Nights. It's our favorite time of the year, this entire show, including guests and content creator. We really appreciate you listening. And be sure to keep on listening across all your podcast platforms. Park Talk Radio is the show. PTR is the shorthand. Share it, love it, engage, review. It costs you nothing. You can engage on social medias at Park Talk Radio. And you can engage via your voice inclusion as well, via voicemail or text, 407-490-2220. Brennan, anything else to plug?
Hit that mother effing like button. Subscribe.
Smash that like button.
Yeah.
Thank you all for again hanging out over HHN is again. My love is back for it. And I appreciate you and my daughter. I just love hanging with you all. It's a lot of fun, and especially when it's just smaller groups and us hanging together.
Oh.
It's just
You
such
mean
a good
17 people is not
easy
stressful?
peasy.
That's Fisher tip number 1. Break away from those. We doing houses or are we hanging at Finnegan's? What are we doing?
I'm thirsty. No, Fish, we love it, and this is why Horror Nights is always important. I've been going for over 20 years, and it's the one time a year where I see it's the one time a year I see these people one time a year. It's the only place I can get this real enjoyable pot.
Shout out to the
folk.
haunt community.
Haunt community, thank you, of course, again, Fear and Beer for hosting trivia and us in the scavenger hunt.
And guess what? I'm trying to introduce one more level of the Fisher clan to join us and create a true Fisher triplets of terror. Is she ready? Is she old enough? Let's see what happens next year.
Well, if I started at 10, you're good to go. It's beautiful. Yep, it's awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Have a great time, and we'll be back next episode, I believe. I don't know who's going to be on it. I'll be on it. But we're going to talk some holidays coming up here real soon. And cruising for a bruising. Take it easy, and we'll see you in the fall of next year.